tracking, what the candle's doing. All I journal is how I'm feeling, how I'm thinking.
Ooh.
Really helps me to tap into that again, like in the future. You know?
Yes.
I need to write about that so I can, so it's not so foreign to me.
Yes.
So whenever I need to tap into it, I can tap into it. I basically need to become more familiar with it.
Yeah.
I did that this week, and it was really, really powerful.
Dude, that's becoming aware of the state of mind we need to be in to become the traders we want to become, bro. Perfect. It's like we're not familiar with what a $1 million trader looks like, talks like, walks like, trades like, right? We're really not, we're not $1 million traders yet. But how do we become familiar with this behavior, with this state? And actually, me and Novak just had a great session on this, dude. This is where we rely on systems, right? So systems, bro, like, and this is like, once again, going back to identify the clear objective, become a massively successful trader. Okay. What are some things that are in the way, right? What are some problems that are keeping me there? Trading errors, holding on to losers, right? Being a boom and buster, right? Doing well, but, snapping at profits too quick and letting your losers go too long. Not following a consistent approach. That's another thing we talked about, how important it is to have a systematic approach that's repeatable. Until it's repeatable, you're never going to get repeatable results. It's as simple as that. And then more importantly, developing that state of mind that you need to be in, right? With that elevated awareness. Going into this webinar today, everybody knows I've been, talking about that 9D EMA so much, and it really guided me today. I mean, even on the 1 hour, look at this. This is the week. Our first full week in like 4 weeks, it feels like.
Yeah, seriously.
I want everyone to take a little mental note here of what it looks like when price is hugging the 9 on that 1 hour. Like on this day right here, what was this? 1/10/2024. I put on a long up at previous day high, and I'm going to show you guys it did not look bullish, even though it was. I think we talked about this a little bit yesterday morning. But put on a long here because of my ability to identify market conditions on the 1 hour. The market looked like this, breaking into PDH. And what really made me take this long was the fact that the 9 was being so well respected. This trade right here paid for 4 of my losers this week, bro. And this is like we were talking about. When you start to become consistent, or let me rephrase, when you start to become aware of your losers, how much they're costing, and become aware of your average winner, that's where your profitability comes in. So once you get that approach down pat, right, whether your strategy is break and retest, double top, I don't care what your strategy is, as long as you can repeat it properly and then start to focus on where am I bleeding cash? How can I trim that? Can I trim that? And then more importantly, how can I bring more money into this equation? And that's where, like, all too often I used to think every day was just about being green, getting a good trade, beating the market or whatever we call it. And in reality, it's like, no, did I meet what it takes to reach consistency? Right? That's so important. Were my winners? Did I cap, like, perfect example on Friday? We had two L's, right? But what I want to point out here is this long off end of day retest went against us. I took a 22% L here, right? Then I took the same exact trade. I actually got in it a little earlier, and I'm going to tell you guys why in a minute. But this trade paid out more than 78% return, which paid for all my losers that day. So once again, we're not here to beat the market. We're here to beat our losers, to beat ourselves. You know what I mean? It's like the market's just providing opportunity, right? I want to build a relationship of creativity with the market. I don't want to be trying to beat the market. I want to work with the market. You know what I mean? The market's going to give me opportunity. I need to be able to trim my losses and approach it in a systematic way. I just thought it was really crazy how this is the exact same setup. One worked,
one
one didn't. So
so crazy, dude. Like literally exactly the same
yeah,
criteria.
yeah,
Same risk, same target.
yeah.
It's crazy.
The only difference I could really point out is this little pocket on the 9. I don't want to dive too much into that, because I don't want to get too analytical with the 9. But there is a little extension here. I still would have taken this trade any day of the week. And it just went against us. Took the same exact trade. What's this? About 2 hours later, and cracked it. So this is what consistency looks like, is approaching the market with the same approach, right? With the same criteria, cutting your losses 22, letting your winners run to 78, right? So there's a couple different scenarios of that this week, but I just really want to highlight that because I mean this was another day. Monday was kind of stressful for me because I took the market long here, right? I let the candle close, validating buyers were owning the this level. What I really liked about this trade, let me pull up the 10 days so that we can see a little more. Okay, what I really like about this trade was the range, right? We have this low here at 46461, which was a bullish retest on the 1 hour. Right. So, that's how we do every single trade. We identify on the 1 hour what structure's looking like. I like that lower high there. Hold on, let me do this real quick. So we're talking about 1.6 right here. So
Wait, Monday?
yeah.
Monday was 1.8, I think.
Oh, was it really?
I believe so.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, 1.8. Yes. I forgot about the weekend. Yes, 1.8. So anyways, this lower high really stuck out to me. So check it out on the 1 hour, Darren, right? See this inverse head and shoulders we're getting here? This was critical to me. Right? We're coming into a demand zone here at 46469. Buyers respected it. We rip up. What really stuck out to me too is bearish structure on the 1 hour was invalidated on the Friday before at 468. So if this was going to stay bearish, we were going to come up. Sellers were going to defend. It would come down. It got broken, right? So that was showing me some strength. And then 471 was definitely a good target. So market opens, and we got this pre-market high level, right? Or this is post-market. I'm not sure. But it's this 46880 level, which we were opening above. Kind of like, breaking bearish structure again. Anyways, I took the market long, but my stop was too tight. I bought my contracts for $93 and put my stop in at 75 or 78. I'm not sure what it was. Anyways, I got stopped out of the trade relatively quickly, and it was on this candle right here. Boom, hit me, right? And then this thing just took off, right? So there's a couple different ways to deal with this sort of scenario, right? This is going to happen to you if you are trading in a systematic way where you're implementing a hard stop. This is going to happen to you. Unfortunately, I set my top stop way too tight. But what I want to point out here, as far as analysis goes, is that healthy relationship again with the 9. We have structure being built, and we have an upside target. See, that's critical, right? Like if I'm looking to put on a trade, I see structure, healthy relationship with a nice target. Previous day high was at 474.3. Boom. I'm in that, right? So this ended up ripping into it. And then, right, because this was previous day high, I missed this move. So I'm like, okay, I'm open to a short play here, back down to open print. Completely neglecting my 1 hour, right? I mean, look at the 1 hour here. Super bullish green candle, ripping into previous day high, lower high as well. This is what we were talking. Darren, how did we talk about this that one time where we take trades to save energy? You remember we were talking about that? Like, we just take this because it's easy. It's like a quick little. Oh, I'm sorry. I took it. I went short on the retest here. But remember we were talking about that? It's like how we.
You're talking about taking that short play?
Yeah.
I mean, it's probably, I can't remember exactly what I was saying about it. But I mean, it's that double top. That's that double top. We didn't really know why we took it.
Yeah.
It could have been that we were just snapping into a program, and I don't know. It's some trades they don't take. You don't feel
as
like
much energy. Yeah, it's easier to go. This is rejecting previous day high, so I'm gonna take it. It's like a spur of the moment thing, right? And know what's crazy is like I really dove into this, and I was like, after missing this, price comes down. It's retesting. I mean, this isn't a bad setup, right? I'm not hating on it one bit. The only thing is I neglected my analysis from the larger time frame, and structure didn't break yet. See, structure didn't break yet. This once again, this isn't a bad strategy or a bad play. I just missed the long, so I felt like I wanted to get in short. If that makes any sense. I wanted to find another way to be right, but and once again, it's about becoming aware of these behaviors and learning to and not take them as often, right? So anyways,
that was a beautiful market imbalance though.
Yeah.
I was in that same long play. I guess my stop just happened to not trigger. I can't remember exactly what it was, but I think it was around 30%. Never hit.
Yeah.
But I took it on the same criteria that you entered. That bullish structure on the 1 hour that was broken on Friday, or that was kind of invalidated on Friday. That was my entry criteria.
Yeah.
And then I had previous day high.
And that was the same level too. Look at that. 46815. Wow. It literally opened right above this level. And that was that was that level for me, Darren, where it was like, if we're above this, I'm long. If we're below it, I'm short. And
something I've noticed this last week is when we open above open print or whatever, we price is holding above open print and we never get a retest. I don't know. Sometimes it's worth waiting for it, and sometimes it's not. And I feel like this week, a lot of times, like price never came down or retested open print.
Yeah.
And in some cases I took it, in some cases I didn't. But we can't necessarily keep ourselves out of these plays just because one criteria is not met. We have to have more to judge a trade off based on just one level.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like, and that's where that whole story comes in, right? It's like, does this story make sense for longs, right? Everything is a 50-50 perspective for me. This thing's going up to previous day high, or it's going down to previous day low. What do I need to see in between to capture a move? And it's like, it's keeping it as simple as, if I'm above 46815, what do I need to see to put on a low risk, high reward trade? Right. And the only reason I got stomped out of this is my stop was at 20%. It was like, I didn't even really mean to do it. I just did it. And it was flawless. And then I love how it rips into PDH, comes down. We get that nice retest, right? This is one of my bread and butter short plays. So once again, I didn't beat myself up over this. I literally lost 13% on this. Once again, we're going to have losses. Let's find out a way to trim them, right? 13%. And then what happens next is really cool, because this 470 level was super it was a really important level, right? Like we battled with it, let's see here, for like the previous 4 days. So what happened at this level definitely was going to help me understand what a long looked like to 473 and above, right? So that's how I got my next play here. And I want to show you guys how I got this. So after making this mistake, I was like, okay, looked very bearish, I guess, on the 5 minute, but it was a fake out. what do I need to see for a long? Now, I really wanted to go long on this candle right here. I really liked it. I like the healthy relationship here, but I didn't. Instead, price rips up, comes down, and now look at that gap with the 9 and the candle below it. So at this point, I'm going, okay, the bottom of this candle is my bearish structure. What do I need to see for a short? And I wasn't gonna take this short, but you know how you just play the story in your mind. I'm like, okay,
Yeah, what do I have to see?
yeah, I'm like, okay, if price comes up and tags 470, 90, okay, then I guess that's bearish. Boom, we rip above it. Come down, retest, in on this candle. Targeting that.
Beautiful entry. Right?
Yeah, right there. I mean, look, dude, look at the relationship with the 9. Healthy structure. This right here really helped me in this play. Because once again, we're above 470.43. And I also had this sense of like all these sellers here, me being one of them, is now needs to get out of their positions. You know what I mean? And whether that happened here, I don't know. I've been trapped in puts before, so it's like, where do I get out? Came down, tagged it, and then this thing just ripped right in the entry. A couple times this week I had these trades after 12. These trades pay. Any options trader out there putting plays on afternoon, it's risky, but I mean these pay a lot with those premiums, the time decay gone. You get in the money contracts for like $78, and these things end up ripping. I made this play on SPX as well, just massive move to the upside.
Probably went crazy.
Yeah, well, it was 3 times this week I made a play after 12 on SPX that paid for all my losers and much more. So that's one thing I'm finding too, is like there's multiple ways to reach profitability. See, consistency is your approach. Profitability is tweaking your approach. You know what I mean? And one thing I've realized, I always save a chunk of buying power for afternoons, big time. Um, that used to be one of my problems. Is I couldn't contain my urge to put on a play, and I would rip through all my buying power by like 11 o'clock. Now I'm really I make sure to hold it. And once again,
Yeah, I would say the one thing I could have done better on Monday was, you know, was just watching structure. I got out before structure broke, and the reason I got out is because I put my hard stop locking in a 1-to-3 risk to reward ratio. So we had hit my target, which technically that is my strategy.
yeah,
If I go over 1-to-3 risk to reward, I put my hard stop 1-to-3, and then if price comes down, I stop out and then 1-to-3.
is
The one thing that I didn't do was follow structure. And if I followed structure, I should have stayed in
yeah,
till the very end of the day.
yeah,
Never once did structure actually break like properly, like I would consider it.
yeah.
And I used the 20-day simple moving average and it that as support all day. Never ever closed the candle below it. In fact, only like twice did we actually kiss it. The rest of the time we stayed above it. So going forward, I'm going to do my best to follow structure, and I guess maybe sometimes be willing to give back more than 1-to-3.
Yeah.
I don't know how that's going to work, but I feel like I should have really stayed in based on structure.
You brought up something vital, right? It's like, and we were talking about it before the webinar, that awareness, right? Like and just speaking on my past, right? Like I had this mental block at $300. Anytime I was up $300, which was around 30 to 40% return, I had to get out of the trade. It was just like itching, right? And once again, like it's so crazy how we program our minds to only see one scenario, right? And it's like once I'm up 30%, it used to be extremely hard for me to stay in a trade, right? And like I had to really in lowering size, I mean, we talked about this, Debo. Lowering size too, right, has helped me so much with getting past that, right? Lowering size, being in control, because when you lower size, you decrease your emotional, attachment, and then
Yep.
that's where you get to push yourself to see that new return. And then once you get that down, then you start to scale, and that's powerful. I mean, you showed me that perfectly, and it's like, it's so vital, is pushing ourselves past normal. And that's one of my goals for 2024 is like, when we start, as we're scaling up now, as we're pushing ourselves, it's like, okay, process is down, check. How can I remain aware when I'm in these trades, right? And we're going to get to it. I think it was Thursday, it's had like 180% return on one of these trades. And it's like, what, as we grow as traders, and we're just completely in that now moment. It's like, it's super exciting to think about, because it's just gonna, once you stop, overthinking it, I guess, it's like new doors really just start to open. So next day here is 1-9. So this was something you were just talking about, Darren, with the open print retest. So I took this on Qs, and I want to show you guys why. So check out the OP on Qs here. It's perfect. This was clutch. Now, we right in the beginning here, open prints established at 406.07. We rip above it. We come down. Notice the pocket here. Pocket between price and the 9, right? So any long is completely out of my mind. Then we drop below open print, and now we're coming up for a retest. I was seconds away from taking this short. This is a beautiful setup here. Really good setup. I didn't like how close 405.14 was, right? It was almost $1, in pre-market low as well. So I didn't take it. But this right here is definitely a beautiful open print break and retest, right? I just want everyone to see that. That is flawless. But price comes into pre-market low, comes up, healthy relationship with the 9. Take the market long. I actually took it on this candle. I was proud of myself for that. I literally let price rip up, close just the way it did. And I was like, you know what? I'm taking this long here. I got in literally at 406.20. So I'm like, all right, I'm taking this long. My stop was at 406.90, right? So risking 30 cents. And I felt that was sufficient enough to be able to see if buyers were in control or not. And took this long. It ripped up. And I just want to really point out here how that 9 closing below it. This is where I took profits, got out of the trade. And once again, that helps me so much, because I used to hold these and give tons of money back and maybe stop out down here. So that was my open print.
You know what's crazy? A couple months ago, you would have been calling this a okey doke. Oh yeah, okey doke.
Yeah.
So initially we got a bearish break and retest
Yes.
of open print, and then like very very quickly vol came in and
Yeah.
we validated.
Yeah.
So, like all those people who were going short off of open print, like suddenly conditions changed. Boom, really quick. And we
Yeah.
even got the break and retest to that level.
Yeah.
So that's a beautiful. It's just.
Yeah.
It's the same thing, but we're just calling it something different, and
Yeah.
we're looking at
Yeah.
it in a different way.
Perspective.
And so, to us, it is something different. It's not,
Yeah.
To us in our minds, it's not okey doke. It's
Yeah.
it's a
It's a
invalid
valid
error structure.
Yes.
A new structure being formed, and an entry being given.
Yeah. Absolutely. It's a whole new opportunity. Absolutely. And it's like, and this is what I really preach in my, self-mastery mentorship, is the 50-50 perspective. And this is what's so powerful about this strategy. Take all the significance out of it. Say, okay, my goal is to trade a high probability break and retest off open print. So you take this, boom. Well, the way we teach the strategy is, even when you're wrong, you're right, Because when you're wrong here, say you get in this and I don't know, say you stomp out, say you get in this short, don't take profits on this dollar move and stomp out negative 20 or negative, yeah, negative 20%. Then you get to re-enter. Because if you're wrong on your bearish analysis, 9 times out of 10, you're going to be right on your bullish analysis, right? So this is something that's so powerful about open print. SPY played a really good scenario off OP here. Another reason why I didn't take the short is we were ripping into open print, but the 9 was not lined up with the level. So I just didn't really like it. Like, you see how the 9's lined up with it right here? Right here it wasn't. So then those buyers literally came in, invalidating OP, started to play around with it. Q's was just a lot cleaner, so I took Q's. And then price rips up. I get out of the trade. And now check this out, Darren. This is exactly what we were talking about the other day, too, is going back to that pocket. Use the pocket here to validate if conditions are even bearish, right? So I'm not telling you to hold through this, but the way I was looking at this pocket right here, I was like, okay, if this doesn't necessarily mean a short back down to pre-market low, let's see how this plays out, and then price rips up. That pocket kind of gives me an idea that buyers may still suck up soon. And then price rips up and then break and retest off that level beautifully. I ended up taking a long, I'll show you, on SPY at that same level. So Q is right. Hold on. Right here. So what I really want to point out here is structure from pre-market. So once again, that 473 level was really good. But I'm going to tell you exactly why I got in this. And it was because this level off pre-market. So I'm constantly looking at the market in a higher low or lower high perspective. So when we're ripping off open print and then we come down, we can't make a lower low. This is a sign that bearish conditions are shifting. So we ripped past it into this 473 level, which was significant from the day before. And then once again, like Darren said, just because you have to be, look at this retest here. So I'm watching the 9. I don't get the retest here. I don't chase. And this is why, not chasing is so important, because 9 times out of 10, when you chase, like if I chase this, say I just got in up here at 473.26, I would have ended up getting stopped out, maybe down here, or I'd at least had a big drawdown, or I just wouldn't have made as much money as I did on this one, right? But it's like being patient. Let the market tell you, right? Like this coming down for that retest, last 2 minutes of the candle, sucking up in this long, holding the 9, ripping right up. And then I did get shooked out of the trade. I wouldn't say shooked out of the trade. I did follow my plan. We closed below the 9. So I took it. And it just, once again, understanding that story there is it's just so vital for me, right? Like, because we all know those moments where we want to get in a trade, but we're looking for that extra confirmation or that extra reason of getting in. It's like, that's where the story comes in for me big time, right? Understanding, hey, in a bullish scenario, end of day was all the way up here at 47463. I'm like, what do I need to see to target that, right? So that was my
that day on Q's, Wednesday 110, I actually took that short because I saw head and shoulders. Now, looking back, there was clear bullish structure from Monday's highs on Q's on 405.
yeah.
And we retested that, and I still went short above that. So, this might not have been the best setup, but what I did do right is I picked a level, and I said, what level will I abandon this head and shoulders play, because I've done this before in the past where I am so hell bent on the head and shoulders that I'll just hold on to it, and still think that the head and shoulders is going to play out. So in any setup that you take, you always have to ask yourself, what do I need to see to invalidate this bearish plan, or what do I need to see to validate a bullish plan? A lot of the times they're the same thing. Sometimes they're not. But just that simple sentence of what do I need to see for this plan to play out really, really helps me, get out of what I want and go back to what is price actually telling me. It helps me stop so much faster on these larger time frame chart patterns that you can usually in the past I would get locked into and just take an absolute hit.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. What ifs, that's it. If thens. Yep. And where do I get, and this is the thing. Here's another thing. Did you lose more than 30% on that? No. Bam. Good. Done. Right?
I didn't even feel like I had to wait till it hit my 30% to get out.
Yeah.
Could see way before it was even near 30%. This is not my trade.
Yeah.
This is not what I wanted to see, and I was out. I didn't even have to wait until it hit
30.
Sometimes I'm so hell-bent on my plan that I'm like, I'm just going to wait till 30%.
Yeah.
You don't have to do that.
No.
You don't have to do that at all.
No. You're 100% right. Like, it's once again, every time you're losing money, it's taken away from your wins, right? So if you can become aware enough to be like, oh, this was not right, I'm out, and not rely on what me and Todd used to say, hold and hope, right? When you're holding and hoping, you're failing no matter what. So.
You're about to make a whole string of really, really bad notes.
Yeah. So, and like, oh, this was the day I was talking about with the 1 hour. So if I go here on the 1 hour, you're going to see that was 110. Hold on. Here it is. So I ended up taking a play. So volume got really dried up, right? It was at, let me see. Okay. So what I really want to point out here is previous day high, because I was seconds away from taking the short off PDH. Once again, the reason I didn't was that pocket, right? And because the 1 hour time frame. So the 1 hour time frame here closed. Check out the candle, the 10 o'clock candle, closed above PDH. So I'm like, okay, we're closing above PDH, and then we're getting this bearish move with the pocket. And I'm like, oh, this is where I usually go wrong. I'm like, and once again, not a bad setup. I'm kind of staying away, though, from like large candle retest reentries. I'm more gravitating towards like, and once again, I'm not like never going to take those again. I'm just saying I find a lot of my winners are when price is just like this, just grinding. The very like similar tug of war, but one side just has a little more strength. Like
that was Friday for you.
Yeah, same exact thing. And it was literally Thursday too. It was a little more that really good tug of war, but one side, whether it be buyers or sellers, just has a little more strength. Like those right there, like, because I used to jump on these. Red candle, let's get a retest and go. And once again, through going through my journal, I realized that's where I bleed a lot of cash. So I'm like, dude, let's what can I look for to not see those? And then, usually a massive sell-off will lead to a pocket. I mean, look at this pocket. Or it could be a rip too. These pockets have literally helped me so much. So I took a long off open print here. The pocket really sealed the deal for me. Another one, pocket right below PDH. Still a great setup. Just not taking it because the pocket. And then right here was like my last, maybe this is short. And then I looked at that 1 hour, noticed the 9 was being respected on the 1 hour. And this just overall seemed like So I actually learned this way back in the day from a trader named Raynar. When you're trading in a range, and then something like this starts to happen where you start to consolidate in the like the upper 50%, there's a chance there could be a breakout, right? So, you know, that's kind of how I was looking at it. It's like we were trading in a range, we're holding. Where would I used to get faked out, and where can I now change that behavior? And then right there on this candle is where I end up taking the market long. Or I'm sorry, I took the market long on this guy, right? And I was like, at this point, I was willing to put on risk. I wanted to get in with really a good enough stop to protect me from this level at 47462. So that was right around 47484. So that's another thing too, is like I've found this week I've become very aware of where my stop needs to be, right? So if I'm open for a long, where do I want my stop? And I was like, I want to be able to like account for a 20-cent move to the downside without getting hurt, just in case these buyers are still here. So that was kind of like just placing your entry where it makes the most sense for you to stop out is powerful, because now, like, you're just accepting the risk entirely, right? You're like, if I could get in here, I could take a 30% L and still be good. You know what I mean? So instead of like, oh, I'm going to get in here in hopes of making tons of money, I'm getting in this trade going, dude, if I, where am I going to lose the least amount and be able to see if my analysis is right? And then, this thing ripped right into, what level was this? Hold on. This is 110. 110 right here. I'll show you.
110 on SPY.
This was a perfect hit. 110 is right here. Right here. Look at this. So this literally ripped right into this level that I got right here. So I'm like, okay, nice little move to the upside. Boom. And I had to book profits really quick as it ripped up too. So it's one of those things where it's like, I used to go short there all the time. And now I'm, once again, just raising awareness on how not to go short there. Just because it's a, double top. So.
Exactly. I mean, you had also just come off a pretty big winner. So
Yeah.
the amount of times that I have a massive winner and I immediately reverse my position, I don't do that too much.
Yeah.
I think one of the main reasons is because I'm just more susceptible to being overconfident and taking something that, I feel like I'm on God mode.
Yeah.
And, when you're that euphoric, you really feel like you cannot fail. And so usually the shit that you attempt is too crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the truth. That's the truth.
Yeah.
And then CPI, dude, came out of nowhere. I mean, just, it's really good to be aware of the news, but I'm not going to sit here and tell you guys I knew it was CPI until that morning, right? Like, I woke up, same routine as always, right? Morning session with myself, boom, hop on the Discord around 8:30. I really don't even look at the charts now until around 8:30, and I found that really helps me, right? Like when I used to wake up and look at the charts at 5 a.m., right? Right when, you start seeing pre-market action, and I'm like, I've been waiting till around 8:30, open up my computer, look at what the market's giving me. And, I'm like, oh, wow, it's CPI today. Okay. And I'm like, how do I want to play this? And I was like, I literally am going to play this exactly how I play every other day. See, a lot of people have a bunch of different ways of playing large news days, right? And I'm not opposed to any of them, right? Whatever's your process, do it. I'm a big believer in my process is the same on this day as it is this day. And I'm like, okay, like, what are we going to see here? So my girlfriend just got a job, and she's had to go to work. So I was getting my daughter up at this time, right? And we're kind of going through our morning routine, and we ripped down below EOD and get this perfect break and retest off end of day. I really hope somebody snagged that. It was beautiful. It didn't tag it though. That's why I didn't take it. I was watching it. I was waiting for it to retest it. Just didn't get it. And that's
right. It was like
pennies.
15 cents below it.
Yeah.
Yep.
And listen, like, that's a win for me. That's a win. Right? Like, if my edge isn't presented and I don't take it, that's a win. And, I mean, did it sell off? Absolutely. If someone took this, it's not bad. But I ended up missing all of this. I want to point out here the pocket, once again, leading to a, somewhat of a reversal right into pre-market low. This was a money shot, but it happened extremely fast. This literally ripped into pre-market low and ripped away from it extremely fast. And we were well above the 9, so I didn't really feel that comfortable taking it. And then market came down. We got another pocket. No structure, no critical level, no trade. And previous day high is right here at 47388, right? And the first thing I want to point out here is this break at 47354. So this was the first like aha moment. Buyers are here. Notice the pocket, notice the higher low, notice the 9 being respected. We rip into the critical level, come down, close, not bearish. Once again, those last 2 minutes did everything for me here. Entered, boom. And then this thing just kept going. I'm using the 9. I'm using structure at this point, right, for my stop. And this thing just really took right off. It's almost like a little more than a $2 move here. I got out at this candle, right? End of day was right there. I knew it was going to go into end of day, but I'm going to tell you guys, I actually took a play right here as well on SPX. SPX is wild because this right here, this move up past end of day, literally paid out 78% return. But this right here, 78 ROI. But
that's what happens towards the end of the day.
Yeah, it's one of those things though where if it goes the other way, you'll lose 78% return. You know what I mean? So it's like you just kind of gotta, play your structure and your 9 very well. But yeah, once this right here was the blueprint for my 3-step criteria, which is critical level, structure, and 9 DEMA. Right? This was a blueprint move. I'm really proud of the fact I didn't chase any of this. I watched it all happen. Am I happy about, having to wait till, I didn't put on a trade until, what is this? 1. I don't get to determine that. You know what I mean? It's not up to me, right? Like all too often I get so focused on 9 a.m. trade, and it's like, listen, you're not in control of that, right? Only thing you can control is when you see your process or when you see your criteria. And it worked out perfect.
Especially on CPI.
Yeah. And that was my only goal.
It needs to be patient on CPI.
Yeah.
100%.
That was my main goal. I posted on Instagram. I was like, everything. I'm like, my one goal today is to not break my character, right? Only trade my process. And this trade accounted for, pretty much every loser I had and more this week. So it's like, once again, bringing it back to consistent profitability. You're going to hear me say it, Darren say it, everyone say it. It's risk reward, right? Like how much are you risking and how much are you making, right? And on your losers, how much are you losing? And on your winners, right? Do you have that number like I did, 300? I couldn't get past it, right? So got to get rid of that, right? And to do that, low size it. I'm talking 1 contract, paper trade. It's the only way. It's the only way. I tried doing it for years. years I was like, dude, I'm just going to keep trading 10 contracts. I'm doing all right, doing all right. I could never get past 300 until I humbled myself and just focused strictly on my approach, right? Because what's going to actually change tomorrow if you don't change? You know what I mean? Like, until we do something different, nothing's going to change. So, you know, number one is identifying where you're struggling, where you're failing, what's holding you back, whether it's a, I take all my money at $300, right? Or whatever, or I hold on to losers, right? Identify that, develop a process, get past it. It was a really good day right there, though. That was phenomenal.
And we use that exact same thought process to put on our trade on Friday.
Yep.
And that's what happens. You have to realize that these processes that we use, they do not have a 100% hit rate.
Yeah.
And if you're in a losing trade and all the criteria is exactly the same as last week, and you get a losing trade, you have to be willing to take a losing trade and then go back the next day and do the exact
and do it again.
thing.
Yes.
Yes. Still not know if it's going to be a winning.
And it
takes the trust, the probability.
And it probably won't be. I remember when I was first starting to focus on process, I felt like every time I followed it, it didn't work. I'm like, oh my God, another loser. And it's like, dude, and it's struggling. It is. But what you're doing is building a relationship with yourself so that you go, listen, no matter what, I follow my strategy, right? Like, that's it. I mean, this break and retest here on open print, it was pennies off. So yeah, this was when we were trading yesterday live. Break and retest above open print, comes back down below it. I go for a short here. Or I don't. I'm sorry. I watch it. I did not take that. And this is the thing. We didn't chase it, right? A friend of mine pointed that out to me. I'm like, oh, I didn't take that short. He goes, yeah, but more importantly, you didn't chase it. And that hit me hard because are we going to miss a trade tomorrow? Probably. Are we going to miss a trade next year? Probably. Are we going to chase a trade? Absolutely not. Right. And once again, right, like, that is what it takes for you to start seeing different results as a trader, right? Like if you want to start leveling up, you have to stop doing certain things. And I can't tell you, Darren can't tell you, you have to dive into your journal and go, okay, every time I chase a trade, I fail. It's not good behavior. You know what I mean? And that's what I did. So now I don't chase. Didn't quite get the clean retest I wanted, which is fine. The only trade I'm not happy with yesterday was the trade I took off end of day. You guys can see here, this candle came up into end of day and started to reject it. I entered much too quickly. Didn't let the candle close, but once again, it happens sometimes. There's going to be times where you let the candle close and it gets away from you, right? And then there's going to be times where you don't let the candle close and this happens. So, but then other than that, SPY is the perfect example here. I mean, Darren said it perfectly. This is a beautiful break below end of day. We're coming up, retesting it. We do get a little pocket here, but I don't want to really get that analytical about it. Because it's not that large. But we get a nice retest there off end of day. Take this long here at 476. Oh, yes. 47. I actually got in this round 476.22. So I had a really good entry here. And I ended up losing, I think it was 18 or 20% on this trade when sellers came in. Boom. And then, I mean, we talk about this all the time. There's two things you could do here. You could close your computer and walk away all frustrated because you took an L. Or you take a breather, recoup, and then go, okay, what happens when it happens again? Right? Yeah, I just took an L here. I'll take another one here too. Don't care. You know what I mean? It's completely process driven. What I really like about this though is we ripped right back in the end of day. Sellers came in. We're above the 9, right? So I did not take that short. And then we start grinding again. Get that itty bitty, right? And then what really stuck out to me was right here. When we broke above this level, we came down for this retest. Healthy relationship with the 9. Look at the volume. Volume's finally starting to come, back a little bit, I guess. Because the vol was really slow on this. Comes down, beautiful retest. Rip. Scaled out, right? And then this thing started to tank off. So really, once again, following the process. It's a good one, though. That was a tough one, though, because open print was what, like 50 cents away?
Yep. Plus, like, I was actually wondering how much did contracts actually move? I know obviously there's not a ton of volume there, and the candles aren't huge.
So,
however, it is closer to the end of the day, so
I traded this on.
Might cancel each other out.
I traded this on SPX and made just under 80% on this, almost 78% return on SPX.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, and I mean over almost $1 move. And that's the thing though with SPX, like SPY. Let's see if they'll let us take a look. It's like when it's towards the end of the day. No, these things fluctuate big time. Big time. I mean SPX contracts bought for 260 and sold them for almost 480. So like right under 100% on that trade. And it was just grinding. But the thing is you have to buy in the money. They're usually pretty expensive. I mean, I bought like right around at the money, like right below it. And these little pullbacks cost. You know what I mean? Like it's just how it works. It was weird. Like right here I was up 78, like 70%. And then it dropped. And then I had to earn that back.
Don't move a lot. It really depends on which strike you pick.
Yeah.
Like if they're moving a lot and there's a ton of volume, you can usually get away with not picking a strike super close. But if it's just diddling around and slowly moving up, it really matters which strike you pick.
Big time. Big time. You know how many times, I remember we talked about it before when we were trading like smaller accounts, like going way out of the money and just paying for it. Because, I mean, you go out of the money at 1:20 p.m. You better hope on everything that's holy that this has some sort of volume. Otherwise, they're just going to diminish. And that's when we just stop putting ourselves in that scenario and said we're only going to buy at or in the money. So, but that's Friday was a perfect example of what a challenging day. I mean, I don't even want to say challenging. I want to say normal, like what a normal day looks like. You know what I mean? When, this is normal. This is exactly like, this is the game. And I think we dealt with it extremely well. Didn't break character, not once. Didn't let a trade go against us more than 20. All in all, it was a phenomenal week. We're 2 weeks into January, and this is what I'm going to ask you guys to really go into your journal and see how you're doing. Right? Like this is something I did this. I do this every week, but especially I want this year everyone to be extremely aware on actually what they're bringing in, how well it's working, how much money am I making? How much money am I losing? Or am I following process? Right? Like once you get your process down, you could get more into P&L and stuff like that. If you're still working on process right now, good for you, because most people never get to that point. They're so focused on the money that they never get to dive into the process. I mean, that was me for years. Like I would, so just like doing this back and forth thing of inconsistency. So, but yeah, what I do, I went in my journal, I posted every losing trade I had, how much it cost me, and then every winning trade I had, how much I made. Did I follow my process? Did I follow my risk reward? right? Did I put myself in any vulnerable scenarios, right? Just stuff like that, and it just raised that awareness big time. I like that what you said, Darren, about the journaling, about your state.
Oh yeah,
That's big.
I'm gonna keep doing that because yeah, I
Flow
mean,
state.
I can't lie. I'm not always in the flow state. I don't always feel like I'm in the flow state, but
No.
that's what I'm trying to get. And when I actually tap into that,
Yeah.
I feel like I'm on God mode. Like
Yeah.
it really feels. And I mean, I know probably everyone in here has experienced it at least once or twice.
Yeah.
But the more you can tap into that and really understand what it is that you're feeling when you're in that state, then you can do your best to replicate that.
Yeah.
Or at least get closer to it. You know.
Yeah. That was me on 1-9. 1-9, I felt like I couldn't miss. I took that long off open print, boom, on cues, took this long above this pre-market level, boom. Like it was like flow state is when you are just in the zone. Like you're just not overthinking it. It's like tying your shoes. It's like driving your car, right? If you get in your car right now and turn it on and go to drive, right? You're not going to go, okay, in approximately 30 feet, I'm going to put on my left blinker and I'm going to turn the music down. No, you're just in flow. You're just doing it. That is where we need to get in the market, right? And that's why process is so important, because the more you repeat it, it's like, once again, driving a car, the more times you drive, the more you can do it subconsciously, right? And where we fall as traders is we haven't built a concrete system yet that we could follow. So we're just, we are that analytical about our entries, our exits, and etc. And then 9 times out of 10, I talk myself out of them. It's like, oh, do I want this? Do I not? This, that, no. You could always find a reason why not to put on a trade, right? But can you always find a reason why you should? Can you become aware of a greater return than what you're usually getting, right? Like, I was just talking about this with Novak, is until you can see it, it's never going to happen, right? Like if you're not aware of the path, you're never going to reach the destination, right? So it's like, just putting yourself in different scenarios, start doing things differently. Like if you're only trading, a X amount of contracts, start trading different size. I even encourage, if try trading something new. I mean, even if it's like, futures, try something new this year. That's really big. So that's it. That's all I got, guys. Does anybody have any trades they want to go over? Any days? Any any good stuff? Any problems you're going through? Any monsters? We got Todd. Is Todd on here? Oh,
No,
Todd left. It's just Novak. Okay, no doubt.
yeah.
All right.
No, I'm just going to continue to hit the journal and extract as much information out of there as I can, wins and losses.
Yeah.
And bring that into next week, and I believe we'll crush it.
Me too. That one thing that I was just talking about was like looking at at every Saturday now. I make like a small little sheet in OneNote of, okay, all my losing trades, and I make them really small, but I paste them in there, and then I put what I don't like about them, what I did, whether I chased, whether I held too long, whatever it is, and then I put all my winners, boom, 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 and then I go, okay, what do I like about these, and just making that extremely transparent is critical. Is like, it just becoming once like, okay, let's work on this, let's stop doing this, and just raising that awareness. So all right, we'll wrap it up. But everybody has a great weekend. Tap into that flow state. There's no trading on Monday. I hate to break everyone's heart.
MLK Day.
Yeah, MLK.
Wow.
So we'll pay our respects. But yeah, there's no trading. So
Absolutely.
take this time to dive into that journal and just become more aware. So everyone have a good weekend. I'll see you guys next week.
Yeah, see you guys. Have a good weekend.